Now at 6, Karen Reed's fate in the hands of a jury. The final words from the prosecution and the defense.
Police with guns drawn swarm a local neighborhood before learning it's a hoax in the end.
Plus, a lifeline on the links, the story behind a new law requiring AEDs on Rhode Island golf courses.
And wash, rinse, repeat, another soggy weekend on tap, but with a Papa son for Pop. Now at 6.
NBC 10 News at 6 starts right now.
This case was corrupted from the start. It was corrupted by biases and conflicts and personal loyalties.
She was drunk. She hit him, and she left him to die.
And with that, it goes to the jury. She did it, she didn't do it. It's as simple as that, and yet more complicated for jurors, weighing reasonable doubt and the choice of verdicts in the end on this special edition of NBC 10 News at 6. I'm Gene Valicenti.
Good to have you with us tonight. I'm Patrice Wood. The jury got the case just after 2:30 this afternoon, and deliberations will continue on Monday. Katie Benoit has the latest from the courthouse in Dedham.
Jean Patrice, the jury got instructions from the judge this afternoon and 6 alternates were picked. The judge also reminded the jury that closing arguments are not evidence and to put their notebooks away.
John O'Keefe is not a body. John O'Keefe is not a buffalo on a prairie. John O'Keefe was a person, and he was murdered.
Prosecutors laying out their case against Karen Reed one more time to the jury. The Bristol County woman has pled not guilty to 3 charges, including second-degree murder for the death of her Boston police officer boyfriend in 2022.
She made a decision about herself. In her Lexus, she drove away. She was drunk. She hit him, and she left him to die.
Reed's attorneys claim that's not what happened. They say an incident in the driveway the next morning is when her taillight was broken.
There was no collision.
The defense also claims police didn't do their job correctly, failing to investigate others like ATF agent Brian Higgins, who exchanged flirty text messages with the defendant and was at the Canton House party.
This case was corrupted from the start. It was corrupted by biases and conflicts and personal loyalties that you heard about. And most fatally, it was corrupted by a lead investigator.
Both sides mentioned the inappropriate texts about Reed sent by former state trooper Michael Proctor. He was fired after last year's mistrial and was not called as a witness during this trial.
And if there was a penalty more than being fired, well, maybe that penalty would be deserved. But it has nothing to do with the justice in this case. It just doesn't.
Meanwhile, Reed's defense finished closing arguments with this.
Find Karen Reed not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
The jury will be back on Monday to continue deliberations. In Dedham, Katie Benoit, NBC 10 News.
And we'll continue with our daily debriefs right through Verdict Day. We do it every day, posted on the NBC 10 WJAR YouTube channel. We also have it on NBC 10 News at 7, and I have it on WPRO Radio, too.
A SWAT team responds to this reported chaotic scene in Pawtucket, but it turned out to be a case of swatting. Not knowing that it was fake, police came out in full force after getting that concerning 911 call. Responding officers were able to determine that it was a hoax. Also in Pawtucket today, family and friends of the man shot by a city police officer over the weekend held a rally outside the police station. They're accusing the officer who shot him of excessive use of force. Police had received reports of a 28-year-old man, Sebastian Yadana, pointing a gun at people, including himself. An officer shot him in the shoulder. The gun turned out to be a fake gun, a replica. Yadana has been charged with felony assault and disorderly conduct. His family says he has schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
And the thing is, the police already are familiar with who he is, and they know that he's ill, and he was shot. And there were other shots besides the one that entered his shoulder. Now he's in the hospital, needing hours of surgery.
The officer who shot him is on administrative leave, which is standard protocol. We reached out to Pawtucket Mayor Don Grebian for comment. He sent us a statement saying that it was a serious and unfortunate incident. He says the city remains committed to transparency to ensure that use of force policies and training reflect the highest standards of safety and responsibility.
A leg that washed up about a half-mile from Taylor Swift's Watch Hill mansion belongs to a missing man from Massachusetts. 31-year-old Eric Ween went missing in April. His car was found in South Kingstown. No foul play is suspected. They think he either fell or went into the water. No link to the internet buzz about a serial killer. Nothing.
Striking workers at Butler Hospital just wrapped up a 30-hour sit-in. This happened at the Care New England headquarters in Providence. It ended at 5 o'clock. They were out there for 30 hours, 1 hour for each day they've been on strike. The issues, they say, are workplace violence, short staffing, and low wages. The two sides have been scheduling a bargaining session, and that is scheduled for Tuesday.
DOT Director Peter Alviti tells me on 10 News Conference this weekend that pushback from two companies sued by the state over the Washington Bridge closure is to be expected. They say DOT dropped the ball on not inspecting the westbound bridge for years before hiring them to do it and then failing to point out hidden structures to pay attention to. Does any of this have merit? They put it in writing.
I don't believe it does. I think that will play itself out in court. I think the Attorney General framed it properly. Look, these kinds of counterclaims by companies that are being held accountable are common in these kinds of court proceedings. And they may make more of them. I think that in the end, the facts will play themselves out and show that there was responsibility there on the part of these private companies.
Also this week on 10 News Conference, highlights from my Ask the Governor segment on the radio on WPRO. 10 News Conference, your #1 and longest running political show. Watch it tomorrow morning at 5:30 or Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on NBC 10. You can also listen on the radio, 6 a.m. weekends on WPRO.
Something new is brewing at TF Green Airport. The ribbon was cut this afternoon at the new Narragansett Kitchen and Tap. There are 6 different Narragansett beers on tap. There's also food, a full menu. The staff says the venue will give travelers a taste of what Rhode Island's iconic brewery has to offer.
So I think it's great for people to kind of see what's the best of Rhode Island, but also see something that's familiar to them at home at the same time.
We really wanted to tie into the demographics. I think it's really important that the culture is embedded into the menu, so that as locals are coming to fly out, they have a sense of home. And we were really excited that we were able to achieve that.
The president of Narragansett Brewery says this has been a long time coming. He says the project was in the works before COVID hit, which delayed the opening.
It was a pretty nice day outside for your Friday. Temperatures made it into the 70s, close to 80 degrees in many spots earlier today. And when you look at our People's Credit Union Skycam from Flo's Clam Shack in Middletown, looking out toward Easton's Beach in Newport, still a decent evening. We're cooling down now. It's 67 degrees in Middletown, winds out of the south and east at 8 miles an hour. Off to our west, though, we have some rain brewing across parts of the Midwest, now pushing towards Pennsylvania. And it's this light rain that's going to make its way toward us as we get into the morning hours for your Saturday. So not a great start to the day for tomorrow. As we look at our temperatures outside, we're in the lower 70s for the most part. A little bit warmer still in Cumberland at 82 degrees, 71 in Providence, 67 in Newport, 70 in New Bedford. And these temperatures will slide back into the 50s as we get into the early morning hours of tomorrow. Overnight tonight, clouds increase. We're looking ahead to a good chance for some rain yet again on Saturday. This is yet another weekend where we have a good chance for rain to start things off tomorrow. From the late morning right into the early afternoon, that is the peak time for wet weather on Saturday. We will start to dry things out late in the day, but notice our temperatures much cooler than average for mid-June. It is going to be a cool June day outside. Temperatures just climbing into the lower 60s as we get into the early afternoon. Our forecast track shows those clouds increasing overnight tonight. The rain really doesn't get going until we get to around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and we do expect a moderate, steady rain as we get into the midday hours coming up on Saturday. That lingers into the mid-afternoon. By Saturday night, we start to dry things out. Sunday starts off with a lot of clouds in the morning hours. Could see a couple areas of drizzle as we get into the afternoon. Sunday, though, will be a drier day for us. Not a great day for outdoor plans, still cool for this time of the year. It really isn't until we get towards Monday. Yet again, when we go back to work, temperatures start to warm things up and we look much better as we head into Monday and Tuesday. So needless to say, Saturday is not going to be a beach day. 1 wave out of 5, the lowest on our category for tomorrow. Winds out of the east. That easterly wind direction just keeps the clouds in place, and we're going to have to deal with that rain during the late morning into the afternoon. Waves also at 3 to 4 feet, so stay out of the water for tomorrow. Not a good day to be outdoors. For the next 2 days, Sunday definitely the better of the 2 weekend days. We'll see temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 60s as we get into Sunday afternoon. With a lot of clouds around to close out the weekend, it does still look a little drier, though, for us as we get towards Sunday. So for Dad coming up, not a great day. Maybe Dad can get some work done in his tool shed if he likes to do that. We'll have temperatures climbing into the upper 60s, close to 70, an improvement over Saturday, but still, again, not the best Father's Day weekend. We'd like to have more dry weather, more sunshine, maybe more warm temperatures. That doesn't arrive until we get towards next week. Monday and Tuesday, low to mid 70s. We'll be back into the 80s starting on Wednesday and likely lasting into the following weekend. I still have hope we're going to break out of this streak. By the following Saturday, it looks drier, warmer temperatures back into the 80s. Our only real rain chance after Saturday looks like it's going to be late in the day on Thursday, as we could see some pop-up showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as we get towards Thursday evening.
All right, I hope you're right about breaking out of that pattern. Thank you. Happening tonight, a solemn occasion, a ceremony to remember the Portsmouth teen killed in a porch collapse. 15-year-old Kelly Nevitt died last Saturday. The porch at the Portuguese American Citizens Club collapsed. This was during a graduation party. Tonight's ceremony will be held at St. Barnabas Church in Portsmouth at 7 o'clock. Well, it was a tearful day for some families at Sacred Heart School. Today, the beloved Catholic school in East Providence closed its doors for good.
Even as some say more could have been done to save it, as NBC 10's Kennedy Buck reports.
After 108 years of the school being here, that it's now closing at this point.
A long history was such a short goodbye.
It was very upsetting. It was very sudden. We were not aware of the problems.
A day that many parents hoped would never come. In February, families with students attending Sacred Heart in East Providence received a painful notice that this would be the last school year.
It's like a family dynamic of the school, and it's just sad. I know everything comes to an end.
Parents say the school fell on hard times financially, and it would be hard to continue. But some wish they were aware of the problems earlier so more could be done to save the building.
We didn't have a chance to save the school. We weren't going to get a chance to save the school. There was already plans in the works and we weren't told. We were misled.
And now that the end is here, there was not a dry eye in sight, as some even called Sacred Heart their second family for their children.
Father-in-law came here, my husband and his sister came here, and not my girls.
People can come here from all walks of life, all religious faiths, all areas and communities.
I reached out to the Diocese of Providence to learn more about the reasoning behind the closure, but have not heard back. But as this chapter closes for families, there's only one thing left to say.
It will always have a piece of my heart. Sacred Heart, yes, it will.
In East Providence, Kennedy Buck, NBC 10 News.
Listen to those trombones and trumpets. A bit of pomp and circumstance at the Rhode Island State House today to celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States Army. It is the oldest and largest service branch in the U.S. military. And as you just heard, the Army Band was on hand, along with distinguished speakers, including Sergeant Major Kenneth Preston.
From Lexington and Concord to Gettysburg to Normandy to Vietnam, to the mountains of Afghanistan, to the deserts of Iraq. You know, our Army has always been there, and it's been there over centuries and over continents.
Now, tomorrow, June 14th, is the official anniversary. Celebrations are happening across the country, but the big parade in Washington, D.C. will host 7,000 soldiers and hundreds of tanks. And you can watch the parade streaming on our website, turnto10.com.
Also this weekend, a real Rhode Island tradition with the Gaspee Day celebrations in Warwick to mark the burning of the HMS Gaspee, which Rhode Islanders say sparked the American Revolution before Lexington and Concord. Starts with a 5K race Saturday morning, followed by the annual parade at 10, steps off at Narragansett Parkway, then a blessing of the fleet Sunday at 11 at the Rhode Island Yacht Club in Cranston, and the replica burning in Pawtucket Cove at 4 o'clock. It's happened a day of a golf turns into a heart attack emergency on the links, and that's why Rhode Island golf courses must now install defibrillators.
A widow tells us that piece of medical equipment would have at least given her late husband a chance. NBC 10's Gabrielle Caracciolo shows us her story behind the legislation.
No matter the day, course, or hole.
Oh, nice shot, Betsy.
Behind every swing Betsy Casey takes, there's a memory of her late husband, David.
I know he's with me every day. No matter what we did
for vacations, even on our honeymoon, we actually had to make sure there was always golf involved.
They were married nearly 20 years before he passed in 2023.
It was just like any other day. You know, he left, I said goodbye, I love you, hit him straight, and that was it.
The 58-year-old had a heart attack at the 18th hole of the Cranston Country Club and spent hours in and out of cardiac arrest.
Dave Casey was a childhood friend. We used to golf pretty much once a week together. It's so sad to think that he had an opportunity to be here right now if he had availability of an AED. So it angers me to some extent.
There was no automatic external defibrillator or AED on site.
The job of the AED through an electrical current is to restart the heart.
Lisa Tamburini teaches first aid.
AEDs are user-friendly. They were designed that way so that someone without training could actually use an AED.
A heart attack is the #1 reason of death on a golf course. And as I started to do research in Rhode Island, there is no AED requirement on a golf course.
It took 2 years, but Betsy changed that, spearheading a law to require golf courses to have an AED on site.
It's like David's death wasn't in vain. You know, like this is like his legacy, like he left something, and especially to a sport that he loved.
Here at Alpine Country Club, they're already in compliance with the David Casey Act. They have AEDs like this scattered around the property, so no one's ever more than 30 seconds away from help.
Every country club should get on board with this program because it's happened here, it's happened at Cranston, it could happen anywhere.
Do you think things would have been different if they had an AED?
I don't know, but it would have given David a fighting chance, and he didn't have that chance. And so at least now we can give others a fighting chance.
Now, with every stroke, there's hope in the form of a red box.
Hopefully I never need to use it, but if I do, hopefully I could save a life.
If we save one life on the course, we've made a difference.
In Cranston.
Good shot.
Gabrielle Caracciolo, NBC 10 News.
Now to the Chevrolet Sports Report with Frank Carpano, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers.
Game 71 of the season for the Red Sox finds them at Fenway Park tonight, start of a weekend series with the Yankees. Garrett Crochet on the mound for Boston, the ace of the Red Sox pitching staff, still looking for his first win at Fenway. Coming up tonight, it's Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Pacers hosting the Thunder. Indiana with a 2-1 lead in that series. Pacers won Game 3, and Oklahoma City is 5-0 following a loss this postseason. Rhode Island FC is back on its home turf tomorrow night. It's the first of a 4-game homestand. The club will host North Carolina, hoping to break out of a recent slump. Sports Team 10's Nicole Menner has the preview from Centerville Bank Stadium.
The club is in the middle of a tough stretch right now, having lost 3 of its last 4, including 2 straight. RIFC now sits in the bottom half of the league standings, but after turning things around after a slow start last season, the guys say there's no need to panic, and they view this homestand as an opportunity to right the ship.
It'll be really good for us to start to build some momentum at home. You know, start of the season, we're on the road pretty much the whole time, so it'll be good to get some continuity at home, start to feel like home and stuff like that.
It hurts to lose. It hurts to lose the last 2 home games. It hurts, but it feels bad. But in reality, it's not that bad because we're better off than we were last year at this time.
The club's losses have come in close games. The biggest focus right now is scoring. RIFC has the 3rd most shots in the Eastern Conference, but only 11 goals.
I think we're having more possession. I think we're a better passing team, but we're not as dangerous as we were last year. So it's trying to find a balance of being better, passing and creating more, and being more dangerous so we can score more.
I think we just all need to just take a deep breath, relax a little bit. I think we get a little excited in front of goal, so it's just kind of forgetting the narratives and just worrying about what's happening in front of us. And you know, we all have been playing with each other for a while, so we know what to do when we get in front of goal. We just need to calm down, take a deep breath, and get that monkey off our back.
Match time is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And keep in mind, RIFC is still in search of its first win here in front of the home fans. Joe Brito says he feels desperate for it. He knows the fans are desperate for it. But if they just stay focused, he knows that win will eventually come. Reporting at Centerville Bank Stadium, Nicole Menner, Sports Team 10.
Hopefully some good weather and hopefully a good crowd to cheer them on to their first win in the brand new stadium.
Yeah, they play rain or shine, right?
Yes, they do.
Well, seats with the light blue, dark blue, is supposed to look like the ocean.
Yeah.
All right. You got one more forecast for us coming up here?
Yeah, coming up in just a second. But this first, Gene, on TV tonight, Happy's Place at 8, St. Denis Medical at 8:30, Dateline at 9, and then join us at 11 for your late local news and weather on the night team. Tomorrow's Saturday, so of course it's going to be another soggy one, Nick.
Yeah, another soggy Saturday for us. Not a great day tomorrow. Not anything heavy, but we'll have some moderate, steady rain during the late morning into the afternoon for tomorrow. Sunday is an improvement for all the dads out there. Not a wet day on Sunday, but a cloudy day. Temperatures still cool. Both days of the weekend well below that normal high of 77 for this time of the year. Monday, Tuesday, we're back into the 70s. We dry things out next weekend. Fingers crossed, I do think the following weekend looks like it stands a pretty good chance to be dry Saturday and Sunday, 1 week from this weekend.
Well, dads endure ups and downs, so mixed forecast is nothing for that.
That's true. They can handle it.
Yeah. All right, that's it for our special 6 o'clock news on turn210.com. We'll be back on TV for NBC 10 at 7.
NBC Nightly News is on after that at 7:30. Have a good night till we see you again.